Welcome back, class. Today's lesson we're learning about solving quadratic equations. Remember, we have been factoring, and today we're going to solve. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and the method we're going to use to solve these quadratic equations will be factoring, which is based on the previous lesson that we have covered. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what we want to do to solve a quadratic equation, we follow the same step as factoring. So without any further ado, let's just get to the example so you can see the steps that are implemented in solving a quadratic equation using the method of factoring. So let us look at the example given as follows. The equation w squared plus 4w minus 12 equals 0. Usually we would just have an expression without the equal sign or the 0. Right now we're looking at the equation. So ladies and gentlemen, we do everything as if, let's pretend the 0 was not there, and we want to factor the left hand side of the equation where w squared plus 4w minus 12. In this case, we would end up with the following. You know that we start with the two parentheses, and given that our signs are plus and minus in that order, we're going to have a plus and minus. And ladies and gentlemen, since the leading coefficient is 1, we have w and w and two numbers that multiply to give us 12 and subtract to give us 4, ladies and gentlemen, so that we have 6 and negative 2, or 6 and 2 in that case, because the signs were already there. Now, the difference is when we ask to factor, we would stop here. However, now we are asked to solve, and there is an equals 0, ladies and gentlemen. So what we want to do, we want to put that equals 0 in. What does that do? That means we have to apply what we call the zero product property. The zero product property tells you that if you have two numbers or two expressions that multiply to give you 0, that means either one of them is 0 or both of them is 0. So let's say the case we decide that maybe the first one is 0, w plus 6 is 0, or w minus 2 is 0. Either or. So since we do not know which one, we're going to set both of them equal to 0, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the zero product property does in this case. And now you have the linear equation for each part. You solve it as you solve any linear equation, and you do the additive inverse of positive 6, and you end up with w equal negative 6. Similarly, you do the additive inverse of negative 2, and w equals 2. Notice, ladies and gentlemen, you don't do anything different from what you have been doing before. You simply apply the zero product property. Let's look at another one. All right? Consider solving the equation 3p squared minus p minus 10 equals 0. Again, you are used to factor the left side of the equation. Go ahead and factor the left side of the equation. So now you see the left side where it equals 0. Just bring it down. Don't worry about it. Just factor the left side. In this case, the leading coefficient is 3. However, it is prime. And since we have minus and minus, we know we're going to have a plus and minus sign. Since the leading coefficient is 3 and it is prime, we know 3p goes in one parenthesis and p goes in the other. And two numbers that multiply to give you 10, and when we do the combination of the leading coefficient, we get negative 1 is 2 and 5, and when we do 3 times 2, we get the negative 6 plus 5 gives us negative 1p. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we apply the zero product property, where 3p plus 5 equals 0 and p minus 2 equals 0. Consequently, we solve linear equations from thereof. And here we do the multiplicative inverse, and p equals negative 5 over 3. Similarly, on the other side, we have p equal to. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing more to it. Let us look at another one. Now, I would like you to try this. I want you to try this. Pause the video and actually try it. All right? This is what you should have come up with. If you did not have that, check your work to see where did you do something different. Compare the steps. Let's look at another. Now, what I want you to pay attention to in this case, read the instruction. They say find the solution. They did not say solve. They say find the solutions. To find the solutions is the same thing as solving, ladies and gentlemen. The exact same thing. You follow the exact same steps. Now go ahead. Try this one. You should have come up with the following. Since this is leading coefficient is 5, of course, now you know all the signs are plus, then everything becomes plus. And ladies and gentlemen, we have 5k and k. Then two numbers that multiply to give you 2 is 1 and 2. But you need to place it in the right places so that 5 times 2 give you 10 plus 1 give you 11. At this point, again, we apply the zero product property. And we have the following. There you have it. All right. Now, pay attention to this. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, you are asked, rather, what are the roots of the equation given? What are the roots? Ladies and gentlemen, you do not change the steps that you are used to solve the equation. Except this is difference of squares. Of course, you know how we had approached difference of square last time. We interpolate, we insert 0w in this case to help us see the trinomial so that we can factor it. And from this point, of course, we applied our method having the two parentheses. And ladies and gentlemen, since we know this is difference of squares, it's going to be plus and minus. Giving our sign is plus and minus. And ladies and gentlemen, the leading coefficient is 9. Two numbers that multiply to give you 9 is 3w. 3w gives you 9w squares. And two numbers that multiply to give you 8 and add up to be 0 is positive 8 and negative 8. But ladies and gentlemen, since they ask for the roots, that's the same thing as asking for the solutions. You apply the zero product property again. Henceforth, you solve linear equations. That's it. No more to it. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Let us look at another. In this one, they ask you to find the zeros of the equation. Now, we see they told us to solve, and we did solve it using factoring. They tell us to find the solutions. The language changes, the step did not. They ask us to find the roots. We followed the exact same steps. And now they are asking us to find the zeros, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you the steps do not change. Just follow through. Hence, 2 negative. Leading coefficient is prime. It is 3, so 3x in one and x in the other. Two numbers that multiply to give you 21, ladies and gentlemen. 3 and 7. Orientation of the numbers, up to you. You know how to check that. If it doesn't work, you switch them and go from there. At this point, again, we implement the zero product property. And ladies and gentlemen, the following. Now, we just solve the linear factors. There we are. And that's all there is to it. Nothing more. Make sure you understand this. Make sure you can do it. This is your lesson for today. All right? Good day.